Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Manufacturing Transformed. I'm your host, Paul Van Meter, and today I got to sit down with Phil Gurecki of Accurate Machine. Phil, believe it or not, tried out 2 other ERPs before he found ProShop, so we are the third. Thankfully, the third was the charm. He says himself, ProShop has truly helped them with a transformation in their business. They have grown strongly over the last couple of years, with ProShop as sort of the backbone of their growth. They've gotten AS9100 certified. ProShop's become one of their main sales tools. When he brings a new prospect into the shop, he says they go first to the computer to talk about how their processes work, how they will plan and execute those jobs. He has a couple of fantastic takeaways here, talking about the importance of a leader going fully engaged and full force into a big implementation like ProShop. Don't do it half-heartedly, get full team buy-in. I think that's a really important takeaway. And then, of course, Phil has just some wonderful examples of things that have really made an impact to them, from organizing their tools to documenting all that tribal knowledge. So when a key employee left, they weren't left in a bad spot. And now just how proud he is to have a world-class machine shop that is run on processes and systems and is more scalable and ready for growth into the future. So it was a fun episode, as it always is. So without further ado, let's go talk to Phil. Phil, good to have you here. Welcome to Manufacturing Transformed.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So you, like many, have a cool story, second generation business been open for decades now. Accurate Machine Inc. Tell us a bit of the background of the shop and your story as well. I know some of our guests, they never wanted to ever work in their family shop. They wanted to go do something else, and then they got sucked back and ended up loving it and really getting into it. Was that true for you? Or let's hear that story.
Yeah, so Accurate Machine, my dad's kind of the classic mom's garage story. He bought a little South Bend lathe, Bridgeport mill. Started making custom fasteners for the shipyards and stuff here locally. And from then, he's kind of bounced around to a few locations. But he settled here over, again, he started in 1982. But we've settled and we've been in this building, which is 12,000 square foot, for probably about 12 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, we've got a good outfit. He also got in with some customers in the biomedical industry.
Mm-hmm.
So he was machining a lot of plastics, plate acrylic, doing a little bit of plastic fabrication as far as gluing and different things.
Sure.
So he found a little niche there, and we still serve those customers to this day. Myself, I've been in the shop my entire life. So, sweeping floors, started, pressing buttons. He had a little host of Prototrack CNC, got into 3-axis. So I'm starting to press buttons there and help out with deburring and things like that. Started taking it a little bit seriously after high school, but I went to community college for business, spent a couple years there. I'm being taught by a guy who's never done business. So it was always good to just have my dad and, kind of get under his wing. Kind of got to the point to where Phil Sr., he's like, hey, are you going to get serious about coming on board? He also had some health issues that came along. So
sure,
kind of was a precipice. I started a family pretty young too. So, I started a family at 20 and kind of kicking the ass and jumped into the shop. So basically just a classic job shop with my dad, my uncle, which, they were like my mentors.
Mm-hmm.
Taught me all the manual machining and various things. And then a couple old grumpy guys in there as well. So, a lot of to hell if I'm going to work for Junior.
Right.
But, just slowly started taking on more of a management role. And as years progressed, obviously, there's a lot to learn in this industry. Definitely recognized that we were behind on technology quite a bit. So as, hired a couple friends, us younger guys were trying to get computers and get things rolling on that matter. And, the older guys definitely were reluctant, just to hell with this stuff. Sure. Classic. We've done it this way for so long. But kind of things kept snowballing. More interest in buying equipment. My dad was in the position in his career to where he's ready to retire. So it definitely got to the point where hey, Phil, if you want to make these investments, you're going to spend your own damn money. So
Right.
kind of a little bit forward. In 2016, my wife and I, we did a promissory note with my dad and we bought him out.
Okay.
So, owner financing, obviously we're very blessed to have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we did start buying all the nice toys we wanted, and of course, you learn, of course, you can't have it all, but God, we definitely want it. Going forward into now, we brought on more people. We're a team of 7,
Mhm.
still in the 12,000 square foot facility and filling it in nicely.
Mhm.
We've got 7 CNCs, so we're just we're rolling along.
Cool.
There's the snapshot.
Yeah. What kind of machines do you have out on the floor?
So we've got a couple of vertical machining centers, or it's three vertical machining centers. We've got a pretty unique machine, which some are familiar with. It's a Datron
Oh
M8
yeah.
Cube. So we do quite a bit of plate work, plastics and aluminums, maybe up to like 1 inch. But I
Mhm.
spent the first half of my career clamping plate work and moving clamps, custom fixtures out the wazoo. So vacuum work holding and that machine's been really killer. We've got a one production lathe. It's a Lynx 2100 LSYB. So got into
Mhm.
the live tooling and
Yeah.
multi-axis work, and also a 5-axis machining center. We ended up getting a DVF 5000 by
Oh,
DNA
nice.
Solutions, and then we have a
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
host of manual and support equipment.
Cool. Yeah, those
Yeah,
Datrons are wild. And what kind of
yeah.
RPM does yours have? They're
It's
fast.
40,000 RPM. Yeah.
40,000 RPM.
Yeah, so I mean, plate acrylic, we do some micro hole drilling down to like 0.15 millimeter. So it's been a game changer. There's a learning curve getting used to
0.15.
back. Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Trying to convert that to inches in my head.
yeah. So it's about six thousandths.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy smokes. That's very cool. So before we hit record, you recently, about a year ago, got your AS9100 certification. So that's
yeah,
is that opening doors into aerospace and defense or other areas, or just beginning to?
yeah. I mean, as of last year, we really took off in the defense space.
Oh,
We're starting to
fantastic.
we're starting to do some quoting in aerospace.
Hmm.
You want to get a return on your investment on the AS
Of
certification and
course.
things, but just trying to have sustainable growth with the new defense and aerospace work. The projects are difficult.
Hmm.
Getting into some more exotic materials, titaniums, and we see a lot of Manel around here, just with the
Okay.
shipbuilding and defense industry. So there's been
Yeah.
a learning curve, and we're getting tooled up on all that. But
Hmm.
overall, if you have the right tools, and you can make anything happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I can remember very distinctly getting our butts absolutely kicked by materials that we were not familiar with and took on and the learning curve that
Yeah,
always ensued after those. So,
no doubt.
well, before we get into some of the technology upgrades and things like that, I want to ask on the crotchety old machinists that wanted to do things the old way or not have Phil Jr. be the boss. How did you win those guys over eventually? Assuming you did.
To be to be completely honest, yeah, one of those grouchy old fellows, great guy, my Uncle Don. These guys were all nearing retirement anyway, so
Sure.
this story I kind of just snapshotted. That's over, like almost a decade of
Right.
working with these people. So yeah, they eventually, one by one, they were all at retirement age.
Sure.
65, 60 in the industry that long. They were ready to get the hell out of there.
Yeah. That
But
makes
no,
sense.
I'm eternally grateful. Just we had a great relationships to where there was no bad blood or anything. But as far as getting them to learn new technology and stuff, it was not going to happen.
Not
So
gonna happen. Yeah.
so yeah,
There's so many of those transitions happening in the industry, in
yeah,
thousands of shops around the country right now.
yeah,
And has been for the last decade as the baby boomer generation is retiring or
yeah.
wanting to, and the next generation or someone's buying a shop or whatever it is. So I'm sure very relatable, very relatable. So yeah, let's talk about on the software and technology side. What was it like, prior to deciding you needed a new ERP system? What What issues were you facing? What challenges?
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't my first time recognizing that we needed some sort of structure. We actually we utilized a program called Visual Istratrack. You could say we did implementation, but it's just an extremely outdated, at least when we used it, system. And just my generation and just used to use user interfaces, just go jumping into that. It was just not worth investing into. And luckily, it wasn't too expensive. So learned there. So we left Visual Track, kind of went back to our old ways of spreadsheets, and we had file folders. Every project would have a binder with print, setup sheets, and all that type of thing. And then again, as things get busier, we're growing. We did sign on with Job Boss, if I can bring that up.
Sure.
And again, the implementation wasn't very smooth. It really is geared towards a lot more front end stuff. So getting buy-in and actually the value out of it was a little more difficult. Yeah, so we spent a couple of years with Job Boss. Nothing too bad. I mean, it's a powerful system, but again, kind of ditched Job Boss and got rolling again. We got extremely organized with all our binders and Excel spreadsheets and whatnot again. But you have things in all sorts of different places, which we can get into. But drum roll, please. Here comes ProShop. We just, with the more complex assemblies we're running, you have extensive bill of materials, hardware, and everything. I was definitely, as the leader of this little crew, was losing my mind to keep track of things. Just so many things can fall between the cracks. There's the typical thing of trying to manage outside processes and trying to schedule that and get things done on time. Hardware, yeah, so it can get a little dicey. So we definitely started shopping again. And I think maybe through podcasts or something, I got turned on to ProShop. Definitely hit you guys up, and it's been a game changer. It's been great.
Wow, that's awesome. So was Visual Track something that you brought in after that sort of 2016 timeframe? Or was that something your dad had done?
I had hired a friend from college that kind of helped me out and jumped into the office to help me get some things organized. And, we kind of shopped around. And to be honest with you, we were kind of bootstrapped. So the price was right. And, some of the other systems can be quite a bit more expensive. So that definitely led to the choice there. But just having the feedback when I did hire that gentleman, when he came in, definitely saw that, hey, we need to get everything organized as far as the processing of your orders. It's quite that simple.
So I know for those listening that are still on spreadsheets and binders, what were some of the challenges that, as you went back to those systems between each of these first two tries, and sorry, you had to go through all those, I guess the third time's a charm saying seems to be true here.
Right.
Was it just things slipping through the cracks, forgetting about a delivery or a detail that a customer had asked about that then turned into something that wasn't right with the order, or just, maybe a few anecdotes of sort of what you were facing?
Yeah, I mean, it's we could manage with things like rev control. We have our binders very organized and review it in order. But just overall, just the with the complexity of especially assemblies and just the volume of work we were doing, you have guys that want to excel here in the shop, some of our key players, and they have no visibility of what's going on because it's all up here in Phil's head, and just did not have a means to get that out. Just trying to coordinate when you're running balls to the wall. That's definitely something. And it really did just take, we first, we went full force with the implementation of ProShop. It was just going through our binders, all our repeat work, trying to get a hold of any of the tribal knowledge, which, you don't really get as much. The guys will take notes directly on the drawings, perhaps on the setup sheets. I really didn't need to extract that much from all those binders, and it just really became shredder. Just started shredding everything. So,
right.
When we finally committed and went all into paperless and everything, really didn't do too much scanning. We got the new drawings in digital form, and yeah, just you got to definitely dive right into it.
So maybe contrasting the onboarding and training, because you said that the sort of the onboarding of those other two systems just wasn't as good. What was the difference there? Was it the person you were working with? Was it was it the paperless aspect? Was it just the product was just more suited to your business, or were you more mature in your thinking about how to commit to that process?
To be candid, definitely I may have not have gone as a leader full force, and that's the way these things work. You have to bring your whole team on board and dive in, or else you're just not going to be able to make it work. And even with the implementation of ProShop, the first couple months. By the way, my trainer, one of your team members, he killed it. He's a great guy, and he was somewhat new to ProShop when he was training me. But I could definitely get the sense that even when my implementation specialist from ProShop was bringing us on board, he was very easily able to find team members within the ProShop team to answer questions and everything. So there's definitely you just get that good feeling of some of the other players that we had utilized. They are really worried about billable hours. So,
Oh, really?
when you want tech, support or anything, it's just an extreme like pressure of like, they're going to try to bill you for any and all time. Whereas, obviously the implementation with ProShop, there's a couple avenues you can go there. But back to you just definitely, I was falling into the same trap that I had done with the other systems, to where you really have to bring your team on board. We're such a small team, and we're growing, but let everybody have access to the information. That way we can actually launch this thing. And once I brought everybody on board, we were, and also things just like we were definitely a closed book company. But with ProShop, just being that everybody has access within reason to all the details of a project, it's been a complete game changer. They definitely have more ownership of the projects. They see the costing, the materials. Definitely considered the fact that we were hiding, the numbers or anything really for no reason, just other than the fact of maybe, it was just a lot more front end. But now that everything within ProShop, I mean, from the time of quote to the time something ships, really, the whole team kind of has access to that and helps get the job accomplished. So it's definitely a game changer.
Hey, thank you for sharing that. I'd love to dig into that a little more, because obviously ProShop does have the ability to hide like all sensitive data and numbers and costs, but you decided to kind of lean into more transparency, and that has been a real positive impact for the team. Can you just elaborate as to why that was so important as a sort of a game changer, as you say?
Well, first of all, just the functionality, being that we're a small team. Each of us wants to specialize more on certain things, whether it's quality or just production programming and different things. But overall, I find myself under the access controls of their user page in ProShop. As they're being trained, I have to constantly give them more permissions to what they can see, to where after, now that I've hired a few times with ProShop, I kind of know what they're going to need to get their tasks done. But just overall, everybody's pretty smart. Especially, I've got a couple of young guys in here. They're very used to technology, and they're willing and they're wanting to help and contribute. So as long as, with any ERP, crap in, crap out, but ProShop does make it easy to where you can, with the proper training, they can immediately start contributing, to whereas there's no real reason to not share, that decision making with the entire team pretty rapidly. So that's kind of, it kind of just happens naturally the way ProShop's structured.
That's cool. Yeah, I haven't heard it described exactly that way before, so that's cool to hear that. I'm glad that's meaningful to the team.
Yeah. And I will add, I mean, just simple things as simple as training somebody to be a shipping clerk here. The process, they're going to kick out a packing slip, and straight from ProShop, they're going to go ahead and create the invoice. That way, it ends up on my wife for the front end. And the invoice and data is already populated. So, I mean, it's just simple things like that. There's no reason, obviously it's reviewed, but simple things like that, not allowing your team to kick out an invoice because you're trying to shield numbers for a project or something. It's just, there would be no functionality in allowing the system to actually work the way it needs to and get the job out the door and build. quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly am familiar with that workflow, and some companies, do it the way you do it, and other companies lean more into, the shipping clerk makes the packing slip, and then someone in their accounting team can see all the packing slips that were just created
Right.
that don't have an invoice associated with it, and then they create the invoice. But yeah, if you can save that step and just kick it off, and your wife can review it, and yeah, that's a great process. Do you feel like there's more? I don't want to say accountability, but like when people have more of the context of like what it takes to make a job, like there's more ownership and like buy-in of, it's important that we execute on this well, and they maybe feel more of like on the team with you doing that as opposed to working for you just trying to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely snowballed. I mean, our lead machinist here, they can definitely see more. Hey, we've allocated money for tooling.
Mm-hmm.
We know they know very specifically what material has been ordered, and things like that. You have more eyes on it. A lot of mistakes can be caught. I mean, just frankly,
Sure.
mistakes can be caught sooner. So
Yeah.
having the person that's actually going to be setting up and running the job have visibility of this is the skin we have into this job, definitely makes it more realistic. And then also, sometimes they can come to you and say, hey there, estimator guy, maybe there was something we should have brushed up on. But just
Sure.
things like that, I mean, it definitely leads, and then on the same token, it could lead to a little bit of stress, greater stress, because, when you do see the numbers. So not that I want to share that, as a leader of this small team, but it does spread that a little more evenly to where they can see, oh, well, this is why Phil got all those gray hairs this past couple of years.
Right.
But yeah, it definitely does. I think it does create some ownership with the projects. Yeah.
So, Phil, how many different spreadsheets, other little databases, other systems did you replace and bring all into under sort of the ProShop system?
There's definitely a core cabinet of all of our binders, set up folders. So you have that, and then everybody setup guys. You have people that work with you that are a little more savvy with Excel. So they've got their secret little Excel files with all their little tidbits. So I mean, we invest so much time into these projects, and we all want to see that special spreadsheet and utilize it because you have brilliant people working on these projects. Some of my team members and. Yeah, so between just Excel and just standard folders, that was pretty much it. Just a lot of that.
Yeah. Uncounted numbers of things that were lurking on your network or on computers here and there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Do you remember, a first feature or like realization? You're like, holy cow, this is going to be such a huge game changer. You've used that term a couple times.
Yeah. There's been so many. I mean, the modules and the way everything flows, just from estimate, quote, customer PO, kicking out work orders. Some of the stuff on my end that's been really a big game changer is just managing bill of materials. We do keep inventory with our blanket orders. We keep amount of inventory on hand. So just managing bill of materials, knowing what we have and what needs to be built for demand, 6 months, a year out. It's been a complete game changer. I was definitely, I was running out to the shop floor to our inventory area to, see what we have, checking, definitely lacking traceability on all that. And now we're on a first in, first out basis. Everything on the shelf that is finished goods is traceable. It's beautiful. So that I definitely enjoy that. As a team, the tooling module is spectacular. We have not finished doing our lathe tooling. We're working on that still. But the milling side, we jumped right in, and that was definitely something that was just invaluable. We had the standard job shop set up to where you have a drawer, some 3/8 end mills, this, that, and it's just completely unscalable. Now that our tooling libraries within ProShop and our CAM package are matched, when we kick out jobs, lower entry employees, I mean, that's one of the first things they're going to do when they start here is that they can easily see the tools necessary for the job. Each tool has an identifier, which is essentially a location, and it's very easy for them to pick up on and go to the tooling crib for our milling side and just start picking tools. And then, of course, we teach them how to set tools and all that. But that's an extremely time-consuming thing. You don't want your lead machinist over there searching around for tools and or even tool setting if you don't have to. So more importantly, I should say, is breakdowns. You don't have an infinite number of holders and different things to tool holding equipment. So as we break down jobs, we want to be pretty rapid about that, and allowing just a team member to have an identifier and know where it goes. The next time the job comes around, you're not reordering or searching around. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's been awesome.
So maybe in addition to spending time just looking for tools that maybe weren't as organized prior, what has that translated into out on the floor? Is it your advanced guys being interrupted less if they're deep into a setup? Is it faster setup times?
Yeah, it's definitely just the peace of mind, not having to search around for things, and just having an organized tool library, especially when you're a programmer. I mean, it's like an artist's palette. When your tool libraries are organized, and that translates into your actual tool crib, and you have all these tools at your disposal and they're going to be there when you need them. It makes programming and just streamlining your job that much easier. It's every second of the day and throughout the year, if you spend time looking for things or not knowing that you have these great tools at your disposal, that's even worse because as we know what carbide is now, it's just like crazy. So and then you actually get to see the value of your tool crib. So that's pretty incredible. After everything was logged, it's all got links to the supplier and how much it's worth. And oh my gosh, look at the value of our tool crib. And this has all just been scattered everywhere. It definitely put things in perspective looking at that bottom tool crib value. That was incredible.
Did you then get to whittle that down by consuming existing tools?
Yeah.
And did it reduce the new spend for a little while?
Yeah. And, we have our regulars. We definitely, we of course we're a job shop, so we have a lot of specials as well, but it definitely allows you, once you see what you have and it's organized in that manner on ProShop and in your CAM package, you can start to just phase out redundancy. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much redundancy, how much of the same 3/8 end mill was just, couple different eighths of an inch difference in length of cut that can just be kind of standardized to more reasonable volumes that we can keep on stock.
Yeah. So did you have tools kind of organized or not organized, just sort of in all different places, and you brought them all into a central area that you then designated as your tool crib?
So it wasn't extremely bad. I mean, we had a Lista cabinet, but it wasn't. I should back up. Actually, one of our team members here, we were pretty close to what ProShop was doing right before we got to ProShop. So he was kind of just like, kudos to him. We did start getting serious about linking our CAM package and creating a location similar to the identifiers in ProShop. So we had kind of just started that process right before we launched ProShop. But we also did quite a bit of job boxes to where tooling that we know is going to be used for a project. And it is nice. We'll have a Kaizen foam cut out with all the end mills for a particular project. And then you just we'd have a shelf where we go snatch that up, especially for repeat work. Which, we kept doing that for a little bit, but we found that the organization with ProShop, it's just as easy to just pull them from their locations within the tool crib. But yeah, we had the Lista cabinet, and, to our credit, it was pretty well organized, but definitely.
So you were already going towards that not organized by type or size concept?
Yes, we were on the cusp of it because, the organized by size and chaos, but back to basically we were using our CAM package for the functionality of ProShop. So just basically our tool crib within the CAM package was how we were organizing everything. So our tool library. So now we kind of ProShop and our CAM package mirror now.
That's super cool. I'm curious to know about replacing the travelers, the paper. Now, maybe in a small team like yours, the front end part of it, where you process a new order, create the work orders, get material on order, get whatever BOM items. Was that pretty fast, or have you cut out some lead time from that process?
Definitely with repeat work. I mean, we can have some pains with prototyping. It can be a little difficult. How much do you invest in retention of information for a particular setup? But for our repeat work, as I kind of mentioned, I did go through our project folders, and I did try to retain information from those. But it's not that bad just pulling the Band-Aid and just utilizing the existing folders to then create the file within ProShop, the part file.
Yep.
And if you're not familiar with the ProShop part file for our repeat work, it's pretty amazing. It takes time and definitely dedication to get all that information into the part file, but when that job comes back around, there's no better feeling than having all the information there, code, inspection criteria, everything. It's definitely worth it. I'm definitely the type of guy that I like to definitely got it from my father. I want to let's keep the machine, let's keep going. But luckily I have a couple guys here that there's Phil, slow down and let's let's take the time and invest on certain projects, but if it's not prototyping. So
Right.
we do quite a bit of even with our repeat work, it's low volume, some of it, and it's just tricky setups, custom setups and various things. And 2023, I ended up losing a key player. He just moved on to another industry, but I had just had him for like 3 or 4 months start taking pictures and putting notes into the setups within some of these repeat jobs, the part levels. And I'll tell you what, when he dipped out and I had that information, I mean, obviously, I can run any project in here, but just having that retention of the knowledge, it was definitely an eye opener. Hey, wow, this, this would be the difference in me being left high and dry versus, I've got all these notes now. And what I've done is with these packages, and I can go off on a tangent here, but just with these part levels, I spend a lot of time training. So we bring on apprentices and people with limited skills, and I've made the mistake year after year after year. I train people on something, and they'll have their own notes. We'll take it down in the job folder, but there's a lot of nuances to some of these setups. So long story short, when I'm training someone, I have them in front of ProShop on the part level, and I give them the power. I mean, even new hires. I mean, obviously I'm monitoring, but take notes on this so that the next time we run this project next month, you don't have to ask me any questions. And yes, does it take maybe an extra 10 hours? Maybe. I mean, just however long it takes for a lower level person that is learning the ins and outs of this industry, just build a recipe in your words. And then, a lot of times I'll come back and doctor it up. And lo and behold, I mean, I'll bring people on and a couple months pass and now they are just running these projects all by themselves just because they're getting so detailed with pictures in the run descriptions and things like that. So,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
there's been a ton of value there.
Well, I know that is something that pretty much every shop out there is facing. You can't find enough journeyman level people, so they're bringing in apprentices, bringing in folks with little experience, but a lot of interest, and when you can find them, and upskilling them into getting productive fast is pretty huge. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no
awesome.
doubt.
So let's talk about your AS9100. So yeah, just maybe you again had focused a bit more in medical device and others, and then decided about a year ago to kind of pivot, go to AS. Tell us about your decision to do that. How it's how the process was of getting the certification, and what's happened since.
Yeah. So we're definitely looking to diversify. It's good to be spread across different industries. We looked at when we were implementing ProShop, we looked at the Flying Start package. just what it entailed and the value it might bring. And it really seemed like a no-brainer. I mean, if you the investment that you make, you're getting a pretty great baseline as far as a structure for a company. Like I said, we had already built our own quality manual, and our definitely quality procedures and everything needed work. But to reinvent the wheel or hire another consultant, time and money is just unreal. So I thought it was a pretty darn good value, and we just kind of talked as a team. And then when you did upload our site, our ProShop site, and we saw all the training, just the beautiful quality manual, kind of tailored to what we do, as a job shop. The quality procedures and everything just made sense. And it was definitely, we did not look back. And then as far as just the whole process of the implementation of some of these new procedures, there's trainings built in ProShop for all the different positions that are necessary to maintain a compliant quality system.
Yeah.
And it just made it really clear, and definitely led to we're going to have a team member who's now my quality manager. It makes it a more clear transition to where, hey, somebody can focus on this, you can focus on this, to where we still all wear many hats in here, but it definitely it created defined roles, because you have to divide and conquer on these things. I mean, yeah, I've seen one-man shops do it, but to each his own. But overall, the process went pretty smoothly. We had some things to clean up for our own good of the organization.
Sure.
And as things went on, very obviously very nervous with the first audit. Auditor comes in, and I probably over prepared, because I mean I felt like an expert. Just the way everything's linked within ProShop, and how the standard is kind of built in. Is she, the auditor, nice lady, she was very impressed. It was killer. We knocked it out of the park. Yeah.
Any findings on that first audit?
No, we have had zero findings. We had a few things to where, auditors they're definitely not used to ProShop. But now that she's back, she was just back week before last for our first surveillance, and now she's starting to see ProShop a little more. But they're not used to it. I mean, we sat down in front day one. We sat down in front of the computer, and we really didn't go anywhere. Everything is just right there, and you're certification on anything, materials, it's all within ProShop. It's been great.
If you had to take a guess about how much of that flying start content that we delivered to you that you tweaked and tailored to your own company versus just kind of left it fairly verbatim, and that's still, in your quality manual or procedures today, gut feel on what percentage you kept?
The quality procedures have been minimally updated.
Okay.
Quality manual is the same, maybe a couple of revs, but that doesn't really translate into anything major. Something we are updating is just the trainings a bit. Sure. There are trainings that are do pertain to the standards, so those just doctoring things up to our systems. But I'd be lying if I say we've gotten into them all. We created a internal work order, and we use the process dev screen on that work order, and it's literally just a list of trainings that need to be updated, just to be doctored up a little bit to match what we're doing. But overall, it definitely took our shop that definitely needed more structure, and it brought us all in to where now we've got a world-class shop, and there's only 7 of us, and it's killer. Yeah.
I love it so much. That is fantastic. I imagine you must be proud that you have a world-class shop with 7 people.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. You definitely have to bring. You have to build a team. I have my strengths, and my team members have their strengths. I struggle with organization. I've got a complete neat freak on my team, so it's like Having a clean and organized shop. There's still a little bit of chaos. It's a job shop, but
Sure.
overall, people come in and we're the cleanest. Most, I take them straight to the computer now. I love all the tools and the machines. That's my thing. But now the first thing I do is I bring them to one of our workstations and I show them the flow on ProShop, and they can't believe it. They're just like, I work for a 70 employee, 150 employee company, and we are a complete mess, and we don't have any of this level of detail, and it's crazy.
That's awesome. So, has it been a tool to win business? Is that you said you've kind of you've had success winning some defense work, but maybe other industries as well, and you're using ProShop as a sales tool?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. I mean, as far as we needed our at least ISO certification, that had been a long time coming, but we leapt for the AS 9100 as well. But definitely that's one, like I said, that's the first thing I'll show my clients is just how their parts are going to be planned, and there's going to be traceability on everything they do. It's all at our fingertips. When they ask me a question about a part file or something, I have more information than them. Sometimes it's more convenient for them to speak with me on things, just because a lot of other companies still have to go to various places. They've got a local file, or it's on their server here, and they can't find things. So if I need to look anything up in ProShop, it's all so organized that it's a valuable resource, and they see that. We're not going to lose any of their details in the mix.
I love that they, in their own company, they're calling you to find information about their parts. Like,
Yeah.
hey, could you send me the latest drawing revision of this? Or whatever.
Yeah.
That is absolutely hilarious.
But you got to play to your strengths.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can remember times where, this is back in the Pro CNC days, we'd deliver, a delivery of parts with all the paperwork, first articles, certs, and all that, right? And then, and this, the customer might be a 300 or 400, 500 person company. And, I don't know what they do with that document package, but we routinely get called, a week or two later, be like, hey, can you send that again? We kind of misplaced it.
Yeah.
And it was faster, or it was in their system, but it was scanned and filed away somewhere that they could not access faster than just calling us back up and be like, oh yeah, sure. Hold on a second. Click, click, click. There you go. I just emailed it to you, while we're on the phone.
Yeah. Or if it's just the material certs or anything, it's just all in one place, and it's linked to their work order and customer PO. It's nothing for me to go in and get that information for them. It's easy.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. If everybody's doing what they say they do, it doesn't get into ProShop without somebody doing it, but it does make it easy to do so.
Yeah. Well, if you're running an AS company, people need to do what you say you do, because that's what you're being audited to. So,
no doubt.
Well, awesome. I'm glad that's opened doors and helped make you proud that you have a world-class shop. That is wonderful. So, and we talked, I'm just looking at my list of questions as we kind of look to kind of wrap up here. I have this question: as ProShop helped change the culture of the company? And it sounds like early on, you mentioned kind of, yes, it has, which is kind of a remarkable thing that a software can help have positive impact, at least in an area that would be a conduit. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the best way to put it, a conduit to help. Something.
Definitely myself, I think everybody works well with structure. And when you're trying to develop a new structure, or reinvent the wheel, perhaps, being that we're trying to strive to get more work orders done, and everybody kind of focus on their strengths, for a small team like me to reinvent ProShop, it's the same mistake I've made, when as a machinist, is just not having the proper tools to do the job. I can't tell you how many times to where you try to bootstrap and you didn't buy that tooling, and I'll tell you what, the time you spent without that tooling, you paid for it either way. And ProShop's the same way, to where we spent so much time over the years, trying to reinvent the wheel and build these systems to where it's definitely a good value, partnering with ProShop.
Yeah, I can relate to the tool thing. Even just yesterday, I was trying to take a shelf off the wall at my house, and some of the screws were a Phillips, and some of them were a very tiny square drive. And I spent way more time searching through my tool bits trying to find a tiny square drive by 10x than I did actually removing that thing off the wall. So yes, I know how that can happen in the shop. You have used the word game changer a couple of times, and the name of this show is Manufacturing Transformed. Would you say would be an accurate statement to say that your shop has transformed since you put ProShop in?
Without a doubt. You got my stamp of approval. I know I've been on LinkedIn a few times. I've been a ProShop fanboy. I mean, I try not to lay it on too thick because I don't work for ProShop. I work for Accurate Machine. But it's been great. Yeah, smaller shops. That's there's hesitancy. I mean, there's an investment.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to get serious about business, and especially if you lack organization and just structure to your company, it's a pretty invaluable resource. And the main difference is that it is geared for job shops. So it's not going to be just the front end work. You're going to get value throughout the whole organization, without a doubt.
Yeah. I do think that is one of the big differences. ProShop, was designed really on the shop floor first and foremost, and then branched out into the other areas of the business. But and I'll give all the credit to Kelsey and my partners Kelsey and Matt, and the folks back in the Pro CNC days that were the ones on the shop floor trying to execute on jobs every day, get them out the door faster, have the setups be quicker, have quality be better. And recreated, ultimately a bunch of spreadsheets that Kelsey had designed into the software that is really fanatically focused on organization and throughput. And I don't think there's a lot of systems that kind of take that approach. And hopefully that's one of the things that makes the difference. So I'm glad that it's positively affecting your shop. So
yes, sir.
So one last question. If you could imagine, so it's been about 2 years now since you've been live on ProShop. I don't know if there's any sort of high level metrics of growth or anything that you're, able or willing to share. But if if there is something, I'd love to hear it. And then I guess, can you imagine what your shop would be like today if you hadn't made that switch?
So definitely something we can take a look at is just amount of overtime we're working.
Okay.
Especially last year, 24 to 25, definitely reduced the amount of overtime. And if not, our throughput has increased. Still have issues with on-time delivery and different things, as to be expected sometimes in the job shop world.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely trying to reduce the amount of burnout. When your mind's thinking these guys work hard all day, their mind's taken all day. So the overtime and just making our time count that we're in here using ProShop as a tool has been really great. And then just overall, year over year, good growth of 18-20% year over year last year. So just you got to be sustainable. The projects get more difficult, so you have to deliver on them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely a ton of growth potential now that we have this structure. What would the shop be like without it? I'd probably need to call today and sign up because it's definitely one of those things. It's been one of our best investments for sure.
I love it. Well, thank you for that testament. So if people want to learn, if they want to throw some parts on your Datron or any of your other machines, if they want to learn more about Accurate Machine, how would they reach out and learn more about you?
So currently, you can visit our website, accmachine.com, and that link is available on my LinkedIn. It's Phil Gurecki on LinkedIn. So try to be a little more active out there. Give me a shout out. Shoot me a DM anytime.
Awesome, Phil. Well, thank you for being on the show. It is a true honor to help, a second generation business like yours. Thanks for being out there, being a machinist, getting parts made that support the entire economy. It's an honor to help you do that. And thanks for being on the show.
You got it, Paul. Appreciate it.